All right, today's painting, Fall Beer. This painting is so much orange and brown that I did bring in, I call them cheaters, but I did bring in a true orange and a true brown. We'll still be mixing oranges and browns. We have red, yellow, white, blue, and then for my brush, I call this a thumb brush. It's not quite an inch. It's about the size of my thumb, flat brush. We're gonna start by mixing a little bit of blue and red together. So we have a beautiful purple color, and we're gonna start kind of just like making dabs across the very middle all the way across. Not a ton, just enough to bring some, breaking up the black, bringing it all kind of together. All right, let's go ahead and outline that beer mug just so we don't have the issue of having to repaint everything. It's gonna be rather large, and you can make yours as large as you want. I'm gonna make a huge rectangle, and I'm using white just because it'll be white later. And it's a cylinder because this rectangle is slightly rounded on both the top and the bottom. And right now we're just saving space. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I have a little bit of white on my brush now. That's perfect. I'm gonna go back to that reddy purple, and I'm just gonna do a few more dabs. Just going across, go all the way up to that rectangle. And we're gonna slowly get higher and higher. Okay, it's time to start bringing in some yellow to create a kind of orange. So I'm going to mix some yellow in there. This is a nice, oof, that's a pretty color. I'm not even sure what to call that though, but that's a pretty color. Just some dabs, they're random. This is where we don't want to get mathy. So we don't want to be in a pattern. We want to be as randomized as possible. And let's go ahead and take some of these pretty far up. Just sprinkle a few far up ones around here. No big deal. Being careful not to get mathy. Okay, let's go ahead and bring in our orange. So we're going to use the same brush. We're not cleaning the brush, but we're also, I'm not sure what we're also. We're not cleaning the brush. Okay, so just some dabs of orange. You can twist them. You can start doing like little twists. And we'll bring some orange all the way through. Each time we're adding a color, we're starting a little bit higher and we're going a little bit higher. So a little twisty twist. Almost little smiley faces. Again, don't get too mathy. So I see I'm all the way kind of straight across. So I'm going to add some random ones in there. And I'm going to start twisting my brush a little bit more to get more of a circular shape because this is going to be more in the foreground. There we go. Finishing off circular shapes. Excellent. Let's go ahead and mix that orange with that red so you get a variety of colors. Again, starting a little bit taller, a little bit higher up, and going a little bit higher up. But we'll have a few random ones down here. So red and orange. And the colors will mix with a few colors underneath, and that's great. That's how we're going to get such a variety of colors in here. Okay, the beautiful thing about this black canvas, it's going to create a lot of depth. The challenging thing about this black canvas is because it's black, we're going to have to put on several layers. So this is still just the first layer that we're doing. Now I'm mixing a little bit of yellow in with the orange to make it a little bit lighter. Now if your colors are not getting lighter, go ahead and check to see if you have too much paint on your brush. Remember, paint is the hardest part about painting. Ooh, I can see some yellow coming through. That little twisting motion. Let's bring you in close so you can see that twisting motion. So I'm just doing little twists so it can be nice and round. It's not a perfect circle. We don't want a perfect circle. These are not circles. These are leaves. But we are giving them a circular-ish round edge. awesome. Almost done with that first layer. Okay, now I'm going for just yellow, but again, I already have orange on my brush. So that yellow is going to mix with that orange. I'm going to send a few yellow ones down there. And anytime it starts getting too orangey, I'll just wipe off my brush and go back for more yellow. Making sure you go all the way to the edge of the canvas with this last color. Awesome, we can see a beautiful variation here. If you see any really big black chunks, go ahead and just fill them in with some yellow twists. We're going to mix a little bit of yellow with a little bit of orange to make a very light orange. And we're just going to go ahead and fill in the beer. This is just the first of 3 layers. So don't sweat any perfection. We want it to be nice and smooth. For this layer, you just also want to have no clumps of paint because we need it to dry quickly. So we're just going to fill that first layer in. And then I'm going to take some white and I'm going to fill in the top. Again, we're not worried about texture yet. We're just putting that first layer in there. Let's put a little bit of white right here. Okay, brown. It's time for the brown. So there is a space here. We're going to leave a little bit of black between our leaves and our ground. Sorry, our table, our wood, whatever your beer is sitting on. Let's just start with a plain brown to kind of play around with it. Again, same brush. So I still have orange on my brush. And I'm going to take this dark brown across, all the way across, and maybe only like 2 or 3 inches up. I'd say mine's about 2 inches. And I'm going to intentionally make it uneven. So I'm going to go intentionally maybe up a little bit, maybe like a live wood edge, down a little bit. Just let it go across. Excellent. Now I'm going to mix that color with white. So I have my brown, I have my white, and let's make it a little bit warmer by adding some of that orange we mixed earlier. And then we're going to go ahead and go right just over where the beer landed. So just a little bit taller than the beer. And we'll go ahead and fill that across with that light brown. Again, this is like a live edge of sorts of some wood. And this is also just our first layer. We're going to leave about a centimeter gap or a pinky finger gap between the darker brown and the lighter brown. And all of our brush strokes are going sideways here. These are all horizontal brush strokes because they're going with the grain of the wood. I notice there's not a huge difference between my light brown and my dark brown, so I'm going to bring in a little bit more white just to see that difference. And I'm going to fill in some of it, but not all of it, because I want it to look like grains. I'm trying to mimic the grains. Okay, we're going to start from dark to light again. So I want you to take that dark brown, and we're just going to make some lines going across. Ooh, let's bring in a little bit of purple. So red and blue, make a little bit of purple, and let's bring across some purple lines. Yeah, that purple looks awesome in there with the brown. Just some swishy, getting some green lines all the way across, purple lines. And then we're going to go for, let's go for yellow. And on yellow, I'm going to do this line right here, but I'm leaving a little bit of black. So I'm just dipping it in yellow which is just going to give it a yellow undertone because we still have all those other colors on here. So I'm going all the way across, and we'll bring back the definition with our black. And for the last time, we're about to finish the top of the wood. Let's grab a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, and we're going to go ahead and swoosh it across. Just all the way, just little tiny lines going back and forth. Not trying to cover the whole thing, but just trying to get some wood grains in here. Perfect. Our wood is done for now. Let's go back to the leaves. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the same process, but only half as many leaves. And this time we want them all to be circles. So remember the first one was purple. And I'm just going to I'll bring a few all the way down now that we know where the wood is, but not many. And we're only doing half as many as we did before. So maybe if you're a counter, maybe 5 or 6 on each side. And then we'll go to just red. And you can overlap those. And we're doing full circles again. So this is full circle time. All the way around. And I'm creating those circles kind of by twisting a C shape and another C shape. We're not going for perfect circles. We're just going for more exact circles than before. Now let's mix in a little bit of orange. And let's let some of the orange come down. Oh, so all of my colors shouldn't look the same. I'm going to wipe off my brush so there's not too much paint on my brush. And I'm going to go back to that orange. And now the orange is going to be brighter. So cool. Five or 6 on each side. Okay, same thing, but now we're mixing a little bit of yellow with the orange. So it's a lighter orange. 5 or 6 on each side. There we go. Allow some to go. Let's allow a couple to go down on both sides. Making sure you're going all the way up to that beer. Now we're going to go for pure yellow. So I'm going to wipe off my brush. Go for just a plain old yellow. Will it be a plain yellow? No. It's going to be a yellow that's mixed with orange. And that's our plan here. That's why we're using the same brush instead of a new brush. Don't go changing brushes on me. There we go. I'm going to go over here. All the way over. Again, full circles. Go ahead and bring in our orange right there. Orange, 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 orange. Make sure that all of your circles, kind of come all the way to the top. So I'm going to spread it apart, bring some circles up here. There we go. All the way around, we have our circles. While we have this awesome yellow orange on our brush, we're going to go ahead and fill in the beer one more time. So we have yellow mixed with orange. Now, if you want a darker beer, go ahead and make this a brown. Just bringing it down. Again, this is a nice smooth color. We're just adding layers. If you have too much paint, then it's not going to have time to dry before the next round. Right, so nice thin layer of yellow orange. Okay, we're going to go ahead and make some trunks now. So for this purpose, our trunks are going to be a lot of blue in them, actually. So we're going to take some black. Oops, time's to get black. All right, now I have black on here. Ta-da! Messy plates don't bother me. I'm able to mix lots of great colors, but if messy plates bother you, I'm not judging. Go ahead and get yourself a separate plate. It's okay. Use as many as you want. Okay, so we're going to put in a couple trunks with branches, okay? They need to go behind this ledge. So I'm going to start over here on this end, and I'm going to bring one on the very edge, and I'm going to go up. And as I get up, I'm actually just twisting my brush. So as I twist it, it gets thinner, right? It's a very gradual, awesome way to just make it go thinner. And I love doing this before the color dries on top because it's going to mix them all together. And then let's put a couple more in here. Let's do a thin one coming right through here. And maybe another one in here. You can put your branches anywhere you want. Go ahead and do as many trees as you want, or as few trees as you want. Now let's hop over to the other side. I think I'm going to have them kind of angling towards the beer. I mean, how cool is that? Like yeah. Coming on down, twisting them to get fatter towards the bottom. And let's see, let's do some tiny ones, kind of in the background almost. Let's do 2 of them. There we go. And I'm going to do one. Oh, you know what? I think I'm just going to make this one bigger. So there's a little bit more difference. Yep. Again, feel free to add as many trees, branches as you want. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my brush again. I'm going to go for a blue and a white. So I'm going to mix kind of a light blue here. And then I'm going to go through this trunk, and the black is still wet. I want it to mix with the black, and I'm just going to add some texture. So I'm going roughly over, 70% of the trunk. And I'm just kind of adding texture with that blue. And it's mixing in for a little bit of a gray. So the best way I can describe this is fill it in sloppy, right? Like you're lazy and you're filling it in. So you're filling it in, but not all the way. Sometimes my brush stroke is going horizontal, sometimes it's going vertical. I'm just kind of sloppy, filling in just a little bit. Perfect. Now let's go on the other side. So just kind of filling in with that light blue, and that light blue mixes with the black to create kind of a gray color. And the great thing all right, friends, time to switch brushes. Get rid of that large brush, and we're going to switch it up for what I call a pinky size brush. It's about the size of my pinky. We're going to load that brush with some beautiful fall leaf colors, and we're going to start filling in the leaves that are close to us sitting here on the wood. So I'm just going to start creating, it's a leaf, but it's a football shape, eyeball shape. And we're going to let it dry. And then I'll do another one over here. Again, we don't want to get mathy. So I'm just picking up, you can pick up red, yellow, orange, or any combination of those. I'm going to create a leaf right here. Now, fun hack, if there's something you don't like in the background, you can put the leaves on top of those, right? And let's go ahead, maybe just a little leaf in the background will be right here. We won't put a second layer on that one, we'll just let it be. Maybe a second layer right here. And let's do some yellow ones. Maybe a yellow one coming right here. And notice how my yellow has a little bit of orange in it. And then another yellow one coming over the edge here, just kind of drooping. To give it a drooping effect, I start going towards the edge, and then I make a sharp turn when I reach the edge. All right, and maybe let's do one more right here. There we go. Lots of football shapes, eyeball shapes, leaf shapes. Let's do a couple right here in front of it. Just kind of sitting there. One. Same thing, when it hits that curve, that's when it heads straight down. And then we'll pop over here. We'll start with a darker color and put some leaf-like shapes. Let's put a leaf-like shape over here. Let's put another leaf-like shape, I don't know, maybe right here. Let's get that orange color, and we'll make some leaves here. Now we'll come back with a couple layers here as well, friends. This is just the first layer, but we'll just do the exact same thing in the second layer. Now let me hit to the yellow. And I think for the yellow, I'm going to put some yellow up here because I don't want to, again, I don't want it to be identical to the other side. I want it to be similar, but definitely not identical. And I see it picking up a little bit of the black. That's okay. This is just the first layer. I'm going to wipe that black off. And we'll do another leaf here. Awesome. And then let's go ahead. Oh, let's do maybe like a big, beautiful, bright orange one coming in this direction. There, okay? So like right here, that way it kind of brings them all together so they don't kind of, the branches have a place to end. I want to give those branches a home to end in. And they're just kind of overlapping. I'm going to take a step back. That one looks like it's all by himself, so I'm going to add a few more brighter ones nearby. There we go. So we have that orangey yellow color from above, and we're going to create the design we want. So I'm going to put, you can put any design you want. I'm going to make the design in the example that you saw, which is basically kind of a rectangle with rounded edges inside a rectangle. And going around. There we go. It's very subtle because it's still not that different from the color we already had. But I'm going to leave a little bit of space, and this is where we're going to start to see a difference. So I'm going around. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go around, but now I'm leaving maybe half a centimeter, just a little bit of space. And I think then I'll fill that in. Okay, so we need to think of what we're going to see is the reflections, both dark and light. So I'm going to go ahead and with the same brush, I'm picking up a little bit of brown, and I'm going to go around that space that I left earlier. I'm not going to worry about filling in the whole space though, because it shouldn't be a perfect line. If it disappears and comes back, that's to our advantage. And I'm actually going to do a second one around that. Again, you can do this design or you can do any design you want. Now we're just going to bring in the white. So we're going to take a little bit of white and we're going to go around just a few edges. So not the whole thing, but in between those lines, just a little bit. Let's go in the upper right hand corner, and then we'll go right below the lip here because it kind of sticks out. I'll just kind of round the edge. And then on the bottom, let's kind of do the opposite. So if we did the top, well, it's the top, so I guess it's the same thing. It's the outside, not the inside. And then let's go around the very edge of the beer. Perfect. That's all you need. Three-dimensional. Let's add a little bit more to the bottom. We did the first layer earlier, and we're not covering the entire second layer, just a little bit. And then while we have this awesome color, we're going to make the handle. So we're going to make the handle, we want to go down just enough that it makes sense, like it's not sticking out of the lid, and it's going to curve up from about here. So about 1.5 inches up and about 1.5 inches down. But we're going to curve out and down and back in. Now we want to make it a little bit thicker, but it's also somewhat see-through. So I'm going to, still with my white on my brush, I'm going to go around, down. I'm going to make mine in particular, it feels like it's out just about right, so I'm going to make it a little bit thicker towards the inside. Towards the inside. Yours you may want to make thicker towards the outside, who knows? And then I'm going to take that dark black brown color, that black brown blue color that we were using before for the trees, and I'm going to go through and just put a little bit of lines going through so that they can see that this is a glass handle. Glass handle. Just like that. While I still have that on my brush, I'll pick up some white, so it should turn out a little bit gray. And then let's go ahead. I see a lot of red that I picked up from those first leaves, so I'll pick up a little bit of orange. And I do think, looking at that, I'll come back and do a second layer. Let's go for pure white. And with the pure white, I'm going to put the kind of the foam. I want to give it the texture of foam. So pure white on a dirty brush. That'll give us a variety. We're almost done. All we're going to do now is put second layers on all of our leaves in the foreground. And actually, before we do that, let's take this black and let's have a little fun. We just want to create a little depth. The last step. So feel free to mix the colors up and feel free to not go over all of the leaves. So I'm just making a little more orange, making the leaves a little bit brighter, maybe a little more yellow. Let's bring you in close. Close up. So remember that your brush stroke is your texture. So if you're angling away from each section the same way that the veins do in the leaves, that's going to help them look just a little bit more realistic. Got some yellow. All right, almost done, and we're done with this painting. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to add some stems, because these leaves that I have kind of sticking up, I imagine them being on, like, kind of being together, right? They're like a clump. All right, let's move over here. Same thing, we're just putting the second layer. So I'll go with the direction of the veins. Direction of the veins, kind of angling. There we go. And let's bring in some yellow orange. Nice. Oh, I can feel the crisp fall air with a crisp fall beer. So I can attempt making the stems with this same brush, or I can go for what I call a detail brush. And I think that's what I'm going to do here is bring in a little detail brush. So let's see. Something a little more pointy. I'll get some brown, black, and blue. And then I'm just going to connect, not every one of them, but some of them. Just some little lines. There we go. If you wanted to, you could bring in a little bit of color to add some more lines in the leaves, but I really think they're beautiful just the way they are.